Do you find it hard to trust other people?
No, not at all. Yes, I do.
I trust basically a lot of people, but I know I shouldn't.
I really start out by trusting everyone unless they give me a reason not to trust them.
I do find it hard to trust people. I need to be really good friends with them before I open up to them.
Yeah, I really do. Especially because I feel like I guess you could say wear my heart on my sleeve.
I believe that you need to know someone for a very long time before you can tell them something, secretive about you.
It depends on who they are. To trust someone, you really gotta know someone.
I'm actually too trusting. I will trust anyone, and until they let me down.
I think when I was younger, it was a lot easier for me to trust people, but nowadays I'm a little more cautious.
Was there ever a time when someone that you trusted let you down, and what happened?
Yeah, this one time my sister, I expect her to be there for me, so I had this issue that came up, and I thought she would help me through it, but she didn't.
Not really. I have pretty trustworthy friends.
There's times that I've confided in people and I didn't really know them as well as I should have before I did.
Yeah, I told my friends something personal, and she told all my other friends. That just made me realize you can't really rely on people, and I just kept my distance.
You just really need to get to know people before you open up to them.
I lent my friend money and I expected him to pay me back, and he didn't do that.
My best friend of 3 years hooked up with my boyfriend at a party, and she was one of my best friends. I loved her to death. I forgave her because I knew, how bad she felt about it. But, I'll never forget that, and I'll always have, maybe some kind of trust issues because of it.
It's definitely happened, probably a lot. I can't think of a specific time, but it's definitely happened to me because, it's life, right?
Trust is hard to earn and even harder to keep.
You might have had the experience with your parents that you have to take little steps along the way to gain their trust.
For example, if you come home at your curfew every single time, then they might give you a later time to come home.
Or if you do well in school, they may allow you to have something you really want.
Usually, it's pretty easy to trust our parents back because we know they love us and they want the best for us.
Although God, our Heavenly Father, also wants the best for us, it isn't always easy for some of us to put our trust in Him.
Trusting in God. That's what we'll be talking about today. Hi, I'm Gabby.
And I'm Matt.
And this is RealfaithTV.
Most of the teens on the street seem to be pretty trusting people, while a few of them were a little more cautious.
Our spotlight guest today, Angelica, was a little gullible as a teenager.
Sometimes she trusted her friends, who didn't always turn out to be the best influence.
Let's meet Angelica now.
Now I put my trust in the Lord. Well, before, my main trust was in my family and my close friends, my family especially, because they're my main support system, and knowing that my siblings and my parents would never sway me wrong. In a sense, I felt very gullible, especially as a teenager. You want to go along with your friends and you want to go and hang out. As far as trusting in them and knowing that because they cared for me, they would never put me in a wrong predicament or get me into trouble, and that was not always the case, especially because there were certain people my parents, for example, wouldn't be comfortable me hanging out with. It was very difficult. It was a very difficult time. I had a group of friends not so long ago. One of my best friends for the past 11 years. We would hang out every so often. I saw that she was getting mixed into the wrong group of people, and I still continued hanging out with her just because I had a lot of love for her. She was almost like a sister to me. It slowly started to get worse, and my parents noticed the people that I was hanging out with, but they didn't pay too much mind to it. I had a gut intuition that didn't leave me at peace, that I was being swayed the wrong way, and it could turn really bad really quickly.
I think a lot of us can really relate to Angelica's story. I know for myself, there's always a few friends where you can't really trust, and maybe they're not always the best for yourself.
Right.
So let's see what our studio guests have to say about this topic.
Okay, they are Jackie, Andrew, Phil, Tiffany, Charlotte, Caitlin, and Dan.
So many times, people let us down.
We share something in confidence, and it's suddenly being texted around the school.
We let a friend in on a fear we have, only to get laughed at.
Even our parents who love us sometimes lose our trust.
Maybe they promise to spend time with us, and their schedule changes.
The sad thing is, sometimes the people who love us the most still cause us hurt and lose our trust.
So, do you guys find it difficult to trust others?
Can you share a time when someone you trusted broke your trust?
It is hard to trust people sometimes because you might not know someone, but once you get to know them, you have to trust them more. Otherwise, your relationship with them really can't develop.
For me, I had some issues with trust towards my freshman, sophomore year in high school. And it's actually caused me to have trust issues with certain people. Like, it takes a much longer time for me to be open with someone than it used to have been.
I know one time I shared something like almost like a personal secret with a friend, someone who I kind of thought was my friend. But then I'm like, oh, just don't tell anybody. Let's just keep it between us. And then they turned around, and then people were coming up to me like, oh, I didn't know you thought that way or felt that way about that. So my trust was kind of broken there, and I got pretty bummed out.
I usually try to see the good in people and trust them the first time, but then if they do something to break your trust, then it's really hard to try to bring that trust back and put trust in them again.
You know, trust is definitely difficult to extend to other people. It's one of those sensitive subjects that strong relationship can definitely be built upon it, but at the same time, it's so sensitive that a relationship can be broken and shattered to pieces on it.
I mean, I'd like to say that I'm a really trusting person, but I can find it difficult because trust can be easy to talk about, but not so easy to live up to.
Singer Keisha Cole's song, Trust, includes the lyrics,
I trust you, I love you, I breathe you, never leave you.
But many of us have experienced being told to trust someone and then they do leave.
So who do you put your trust in?
That's what we asked the teens on the street.
Let's check it out.
Who do I put my trust in? My best friend. And basically my best friends I trust because basically they keep secrets. They're not gonna tell nobody.
Mostly my family and my close friends that I've known for years and years are the people that I'll always trust.
I put trust in my friends, like Alex over there.
Why?
Because, I don't know, I've known her for a long time, and they've been there for me, in times when other people haven't.
I put my trust in people that I know really well and people that know me really well, because I know that some people know me even better than I know myself.
I would definitely put my trust into one of my girlfriends. Her name is Ashley. We've been best friends for a decade now. I love her to death. I would trust her with absolutely anything.
I put my trust in very good friends and family members because they always have my back and don't talk about me behind my back.
My family the most.
I put my trust in people who I know that trust me and who are positive and very encouraging. And I don't trust people who I know won't keep their promises or aren't headed in as well of a direction as I am.
I put my trust in my friends, my family, God.
Like what most of the teens said, they trust their friends. That's how I am. I even, this girl right here. Jackie's one of my really close friends, and she's someone that I can confide in and tell a lot of things to. But unlike some of the teens, I don't find it easy to trust my family. I come from a big Italian family that likes to gossip and talk and stuff. So the only person I find in my family I can really confide in is my sister. She tells me things, I tell her things, and we have the trust.
For me, I'm actually the opposite because I find it really easy to trust my family. We're really close, and I know that I can always go to them for anything. But I also do trust my friends, my closest friends as well, because they've always been there for me, and I know that if I have a problem, I can go to them, and they know that I'll do the same.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really trust my family, especially my mom, because she's always there for me, and when ever I have a problem, I just tell her, and she's always there to tell me that's gonna be okay. And I also trust my really close friends too.
Yeah, I put my trust in my grandmother, sort of like you family members, because she's really close to God. She helps steer me in the right direction, and I think it's important that she's taught me that trust over the years.
I have to agree with what Matt said, that I trust in my friends a lot, but I also have to disagree because I'm Italian too, and I love to trust my family. They're my best friends.
I think the person I put the most trust in is my elder sister, Jessie Lee. We're separated by maybe 2 or 3 years, and the sisterly connection we have, we know in an instant when something's wrong, and we'll call or text each other, and we always have each other's back. We're always there for each other.
Yeah, with me, I kind of have that with my cousin, maybe not to such an extent, but I know I trust him with anything. My parents, yeah, I can trust them, but if I tell them something, they kind of blow it out of proportion, or they look at it the wrong way and they don't hear me exactly. My sister. My cousin, he's like my brother. I'm mad tight with him.
I understand where you're coming from, Phil, with how your parents like blow things out of proportion. But like my family, I really trust them. Like we're really close. Like we're like known in our community as like, oh, the family that if you need anything, just always come to me and my family.
Sometimes trusting in God can be much more difficult than trusting in our friends and family.
The most important thing to know is that He loves us unconditionally.
And if we believe He made us and He wants the best for us, we can learn to trust Him.
But sometimes we treat God more like our friends.
We might share part of our lives with Him, but it takes a long time of testing before we feel confident that He really isn't going to let us down.
Next, we asked the teens on the street how they trusted God.
I place my trust in God that He will lead me in a direction that is positive and will help me for my future.
I'm in a very important sports game or doing like schoolwork.
Prayer, like I pray to Him sometimes, so trust Him that He'll do the right thing and help us out.
In every way possible.
In my entire life.
Do you trust God is there for you and loves you?
Of course. Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes.
I know He's there, up there, watching down on all of us, making sure we're all doing good.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
He will continue to love us no matter what happens.
God tells us in the book of Joshua,
I will never leave you or forsake you.
He means it because God does not lie.
Next, Spotlight guest Angelica shares with us a time when she put her trust in her family, which led to a conflict and unhappiness.
She later found that God did not forsake her. He helped her to resolve the conflict.
About a year ago, I decided to take my parents' advice, and I went to a university in Ohio, and my siblings, their dream was for me to go there. And although it was a great environment, I knew that this place was not for me and I wasn't going to be at peace. I ended up going into a really bad depression. In coming back for visits back to the city and back home, I realized that I felt like a completely different person out here. I felt full of joy. My relationship with God was better. I actually felt motivated to want to go to church on Sunday. Back at school, I had no motivation to even get up in the morning. And so my relationship with God was sort of an angry one. There was even times where the only time that I was speaking to God at all was basically screaming at God and asking Him, you know, what was going on. And once I actually stopped screaming at God and started listening to Him, it was very clear of where He wanted me. It was completely against what everyone was telling me at that time. Everybody just wanted me to sort of like suck it up and just continue on with school, knowing that the sacrifices in life that you have to make sometimes aren't always easy. One of the prayers that was on my heart for a while was, all right, Lord, if you want me to come back to New York, I'm no longer worrying about it. I'm no longer gonna stress out about it. And slowly but surely, my relationship with my siblings got better through that because they came to understand why I wanted to be home, that it wasn't for selfish reasons.